Hello, my friends, and welcome to this week's look at the use of oracle cards for self-discovery. This week, we'll look at Boann, Celtic goddess of inspiration and creativity, who rules writing, in particular poetry, flowing water, spiritual insight, fertility, knowledge, and creativity. She was one of the Tuatha De Danann, the people of Danu, who were a race of gods in Ireland long before the arrival of the Milesians, who drove them into their underground fairy worlds. She was associated with the river Boann in northeast Ireland and its source, the well of Seagas. Some bards recount her story in this way. Long, long ago, when the world was young and wild places were everywhere, Boann initiated the well of Seagas by walking counterclockwise around stones found there. She caused the water from under the earth to spring forth with great strength and rush down to the sea. The pool formed by the spring's rushing emergence was then encircled by 9 sacred hazelnut trees. The salmon of wisdom swam in the waters of this hidden pool and ate the nuts of knowledge which fell into it from the sacred trees. Boann helps you clear negativity and mental debris, allowing space for spiritual insight and divine inspiration. She urges you to take time for your own creative expression. There are many stories about Boann. Some sources recount the creation of the river Boann a little differently and with what feels to me like a slightly negative twist toward the goddess. In this version, Boann goes to the already existing well of Seagas, the source of all knowledge, which was forbidden to her to do so. While walking around the well counterclockwise, the waters rose up in anger and forced her down to the sea. She was turned into a salmon during this event, becoming the salmon of wisdom herself and the goddess of the new river Boann. She released the water for all people, becoming the mother of many of the world's important rivers. Boann's name is assumed by some to be derived from the name of the sacred white cow whose footsteps formed the land of Ireland, Boann. Boann was also known as White Cow. Cows were sacred and associated with water in many ancient cultures. In the eyes of the ancients, both water and milk, the substance of life, flowed from the breast of the goddess. The Milky Way is also known as the Way of the White Cow, so some connect Boann with the heavens. Boann, as White Cow, thus either becomes or rules over the river of heaven, the Milky Way, thus ruling over the wheel of time itself. Boann's husband changes from text to text. Perhaps that's some of the reason for the negativity sometimes found toward her. Some pair her with the water god Nihan and others with the mortal Elkmar. But all accounts agree that she was the consort of the Dagda, Celtic earth god and leader of the Tuatha De Danann. While her husband was away, she lay with the Dagda and conceived Angus. To conceal her pregnancy from her husband, she, or some accounts credit the Dagda, caused time to stop, making 9 months appear as 1 day. After Angus was born, he was given to his half-brother Medea to raise. You might remember Medea from the story of Aideen. And we'll learn more about Angus, the god of love, later in the story of Caer, goddess of dreams and prophecy. Boann lived in Brunaboinne, the Gaelic name for the site known as Newgrange, which has been carbon dated to around 3000 BC. In Celtic mythology, Brunaboinne was a site that offered great hospitality to spiritual travelers. It was a mysterious structure full of passageways and chambers, some of which housed guests and others reserved for only the Tuatha De Danann, the fairy folk. When visitors from the mundane world first arrived, they were greeted by 3 magical trees, which were always full of fruit, no matter the season. Some accounts say that these were apple trees. Others say they were hazelnuts. In addition to a constant supply of food from the trees, there was always a fire in the hearth with food cooking for the guests. Here, visitors were able to nourish their bodies and souls while the magic of Brunabonye helped them to access their own spiritual insight and creativity. And one last story I'd like to share illustrates Boann's powers of creativity. Yet another husband is attributed to Boann, one which gives her credit for having birthed the 3 types of music: lamentation, joy, and sleep. In this version, Boann coupled with, or was married to, Uitni, the Dagda's harper. At the birth of their first son, she cried out in pain, and Uitne played healing music, or the music of lamentation. Upon the birth of their second son, Boann cried with joy, birthing the music of joy. The birth of their third son was so easy that Boann fell asleep, while Uitne played, thus birthing the music of sleep. Call on Boann, who rules over the realm of imagination, for help with your own creative voice. She brings knowledge of what is needed and inspiration on how to achieve it in the midst of the ever-evolving spiral of life. She opens the way to your connection to Source. I hope the energies of Boann can help you in this coming week and allow you to flow like the river toward greater knowledge and creativity. And as always, keep your hearts open to love. Bye.